We will tell you about an amazing find we made today, and shocking as we tell you the truth about the dried up Mediterranean Sea and the strange thing that has come out of it. Let's just jump in. The Mediterranean Sea has been fascinating people for hundreds of years with its rich sea life, different cultures, and historical importance. But in recent years, something huge has happened that has never happened before. The Mediterranean Sea is no longer there at all. Something unimaginable has come up from beneath the sea, and today we're going on an exciting venture to find out what it is. First, we need to figure out what led to this big event. Scientists and experts from all over the world have been working hard to figure out the mystery behind the dried up. According to what they found, a series of natural changes caused the Strait of Gibraltar to close, which caused the Mediterranean Sea to slowly dry up over many years. Due to the Strait of Gibraltar being closed, the amount of water coming into the sea dropped a lot, which caused the evaporation due to which the climate has changed, leading to the Mediterranean Sea drying up completely. This has never happened before in the history of people, which led to a huge effect on the environment, local communities, and world climate patterns. The sudden change in the climate means the coastal towns that used to do well because of fishing and tourism have lost people, have lost their jobs, and ecosystems that depend on the sea for life have changed in a way that can't be changed. It's a horrifying thing. The sea was the center of our lives not only for the people, but also for the animals. Let's talk about geological shifts leading to the closure of the Strait of Gibraltar. The Strait of Gibraltar closed because of changes in the Earth's crust that happened over millions of years. The movement of tectonic plates caused the rise of mountain ranges. In the end, the strait got smaller and closed. Here's how to understand these changes in geology. Plate tectonics is a theory that explains how the hard plates of the Earth's crust move and interact with each other. The Strait of Gibraltar is where the African and Eurasian plates meet. These are two of the biggest plates, the African plate and the Eurasian plate. As time passes, the African and Eurasian plates have moved closer together, which makes the space smaller and smaller. This caused the two plates to crash into each other. The African plate pushed against the Eurasian plate because of this impact. The Iberian Peninsula and the area around the Strait of Gibraltar got higher. When the African and Eurasian plates collided, the Betic Rift was formed. This caused the rock in the area to fold and rise up, and this mountain line runs along the southern coast of Spain and the northern coast of Morocco, which makes the strait narrower. As the Betic Rift mountain range rose, it narrowed the Strait of Gibraltar, making it harder for water to move between the Mediterranean Sea and the Atlantic Ocean. The narrowing of the strait caused a bottleneck, which made it harder for water from the two sources of water to flow back and forth. The closing of the Strait of Gibraltar had big effects on the flow and trade of water from the Atlantic Ocean into the Mediterranean Sea was almost disconnected, which disturbed the natural balance of water levels. It limited movement of waters, also changed how the water moved, where nutrients went, and how the temperature was kept stable in the Mediterranean Sea. The closing of the Strait of Gibraltar was caused by the clash of the African and Eurasian plates, causing the Iberian Peninsula to rise up. The Betic Rift mountain range made the gap narrower, so less water could flow from the Mediterranean Sea to the Atlantic Ocean. This stopped a lot of water from moving around, which in the long run led to the Mediterranean Sea drying up. The Mediterranean Sea has changed habitats and wildlife in a way that can't be changed back up. These changes have had a big effect on the delicate balance of sea life and the complex web of different kinds of life in the area. Here's a description of the changes that can't be changed back. In the Mediterranean Sea, there are many habitats alive such as coral reefs, seagrass fields, and coastal wetlands. Due to the sea drying up, these ecosystems have been lost, which had been led to the extinction of species that depended on them. Losing these kinds of environments has led to a big drop in the number of species in the area. When the Mediterranean Sea dried up, it broke the complex food chains that kept the marine environment alive. Plankton, small fish, and invertebrates were all important food sources for bigger animals. With the loss of these prey species, it has been hard for predators higher up the food chain to find their ways to eat, which has led to population decline and the possibility of extinction. The Mediterranean Sea was an important way for fish, sea turtles, and marine mammals to get from one place to another. During their yearly migrations, these species use the sea as a way to find their way. Because the sea is drying up, these migration paths have been cut off, making it hard for these species to get to their breeding or feeding grounds. This change in migration trends have had big effects on how populations change and how many different kinds of genes they have. People knew that the Mediterranean Sea had species that could only be found there and nowhere else on Earth. These specialized species have changed over time to do well in the unique conditions of the Mediterranean. But as the sea dries up, many of these endemic species face extinction because they no longer have a place to live and their specific adaptations are no longer useful. There is an ecological mismatch in the area because key species have been lost and food chains have been broken. When some species are taken out of an environment, it can have ripple effects on their organisms and ecological processes. This can cause more species to go extinct, populations to crash, and ecosystems to get worse. As the waters of the Mediterranean Sea decline, the water level has gone down. They have revealed parts of an ancient society that were hidden by the waves. The sudden appearance of buildings, artifacts, and writing on the seabed gives a unique chance to learn more about a society that has been buried for a long time. The race against time comes from the fact that people know this chance won't last forever. The exposed parts of the submerged society are at risk of damage from natural forces like erosion and sedimentation, as well as from human activities. So expeditions and study must be done quickly to record and save what is found before it is lost for good. The study of the lost society has a lot to teach us about the history and archaeology and creating a mystery of the sea. It gives us a rare look at an old culture that lived when the Mediterranean Sea was at a different level. This lost civilization's objects, buildings, and writings tell us a lot about its culture, technology, and daily life. The results can make people rethink what they know about the human past and how civilizations have grown. The underwater environment makes it difficult to study a culture that is underwater. Archaeologists and scholars using the special diving gear, underwater robots, and high-tech imaging methods to look at the sites that are underwater. Expertise and accuracy are needed to carefully recover and store the artifacts so that they don't lose their value or integrity. An important part of the study is trying to figure out what the ancient scripts and inscriptions are saying. Linguists, epigraphers, and historians all work together to figure out what the language means. This helps them to learn more about the civilization's writing system, language, and ways of communicating. Also, looking at the building's architecture gives us clues about how they are built, how they planned their cities, and how they ran their societies. A well-designed civilization was formed during ancient times. We can analyze how the people were so developed to establish such a civilization. The culture gives a proper outlook. Teams from many different fields must work together to figure out the secrets of the lost society. Experts from different areas, such as archaeologists, historians, linguists, scientists, and others, get together to share their knowledge, skills, and resources. International partnerships and collaborations help people work together to solve the mystery of the lost society. Research and study play a vital role for figuring out what happened to the people who lived in the Mediterranean Sea before it dried up. Scholars, archaeologists, and scientists from different fields are working together to collect some data and make sense of the available data. It will help them to learn more about this mysterious society. Here's how you can understand the ongoing study and analysis. Archaeologists are digging carefully and surveying the sites to find the remains of the society that was buried by water, which means that going underwater, making maps of buildings, and digging up artifacts in a planned way. Keeping the data carefully and recording the artifacts and buildings are located, which gives important information about the layout, design, and organization of the old society. Artifacts that have been found are carefully examined and cared for so that as much information as possible can be gleaned from them. Archaeologists look at the materials, workmanship, and style of the artifacts to figure out what they were used for and how important they were to the culture. Conservation efforts protect these fragile artifacts so that they can be studied and learned from by experts in the future. Linguists and epigraphers work hard to figure out how to read the ancient scripts and languages found in the society that was buried underwater. Comparative linguistic research, deciphering inscriptions, and building on what is already known about ancient languages are all parts of this process. The translation of text helps show the social, religious, and historical parts of the civilization. This gives us important information about how and what they believed in their culture. Radiocarbon dating, stable isotope analysis, and DNA analysis are all used to learn more about the ancient society's history, diet, migration trends, and genetic makeup. These scientific analyses are added to what archaeologists have found, making it possible to learn more about the history and interactions of the society as a whole. Researchers compare what they have learned about the lost civilization with what they already know about other ancient societies in the area and elsewhere. Comparative studies help us to put the lost civilization's changes in culture, technology, and society into a larger history and archaeological context. This way of looking at things lets researchers find connections and figure out what was different about lost society. Ongoing study and analysis thrive when experts work together and share what they know. Ideas, data, and interpretations can be shared more easily when there are international conferences, research partnerships, and academic journals. This way of working together encourages critical conversations, opens people up to new ideas, and pushes the limits of what we know about the lost society. Even the government was also helping the organization who are engaged in this campaign. The Mediterranean Sea drying up has shown us something amazing and never seen before. As the water went down, a lost society and its artifacts started to show up. This has caught the attention of researchers, archaeologists, and scholars all over the world. This important event is a one-of-a-kind chance to find out about the secrets and mysteries of a lost society that has been hidden for hundreds of years beneath the waves. Realizing that time is running out makes it important to look into and record these newly found riches as soon as possible. The survival of these amazing ruins is threatened by the environment and by what people do. Research, collaboration, and scientific analysis are all important parts of putting together the puzzle of the past and learning more about the lives, culture, and accomplishments of the ancient society that has finally risen from the depths. The discovery of this lost society is a turning point in our understanding of human history. It has led to new questions and a strong desire to learn more. So if you found the channel informative and useful, then please do not forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel.